Hey, everybody, this is Jason Greenwa, and welcome back to another episode of The Fresh Wire. I'm your host, as I've always been. It is episode 5, 10:24 p.m., September 5th, 2023. A lot has happened in the past few days. There's a lot to go in. No idea how long this episode's going to be. We'll find out together. Let's start off with some unfortunate news that happened in the past few days. Some well-known singers, songwriters passed away. Jimmy Buffett and Steve Harwell. Jimmy Buffett is the singer-songwriter, infamously turning Margaritaville into a massive billion-dollar empire. He was 76. He passed away Friday. It was revealed that he was fighting Merkel cell skin cancer for 4 years, a statement said. He continued to perform during treatment. His last show was a surprise appearance in Rhode Island in early July. He had a 50-year professional career, a bunch of different songs, Cheeseburger in Paradise, Margaritaville. He was very well known, especially in my local community in South Florida. He was very well known there, establishing himself on multiple different records, active in the studio for decades, 4 platinum and 8 gold studio albums. He was extremely successful and highly beloved, and he will be deeply missed. I know I listened to some of his songs when I was younger. My parents absolutely loved him, and I did too. And it was a little heartbreaking, very unfortunate. He was very well known, and he will be missed. Rest in peace. Another person that passed was Steve Harwell, the former lead singer of Smash Mouth. Now, if you know of the song "Hey Now, You're an All-Star," you know who sings it, at least, if you didn't already. The late 90s California-based band renowned for ska-tinged hits such as "Walking on the Sun" and the absolutely legendary All-Star passed away at his home in Idaho Monday. He was in hospice care to multiple health complications. He was 56. Over the last decade, he struggled with alcohol abuse, and as a result, it impacted his motor function, speech, and memory. In 2021, he announced his retirement due to ongoing health issues. He was involved with many different, now well-known songs that were highly beloved, even to now. And again, he will also be missed. He had some controversy here and there, but overall, he was a big success, him along with all of Smash Mouth, and rest in peace to him. Now, we got all of that out of the way. I have no idea how I'm going to move from that to anything else, so I'm just not even going to try. To be a little more lighthearted, I just wanted to mention this because it just recently released, I think this morning, actually, and I saw the trailer, and I'm genuinely excited. Trailer for the upcoming film Chicken Run 2, titled Chicken Run Dawn of the Nugget. I know, I really had no way to lean into this, no matter with anything else I had planned to talk about today. But Chicken Run is one of my favorite animated films. It's just down to earth. It's just funny. It's comedic. Very enjoyable. I don't know where you could stream it if you're interested in watching it. I think it was a pretty short film, too. I mean, animated films are on average shorter, but you never know nowadays. Netflix released the trailer for the sequel to Chicken Run just recently. The film is set to premiere, I think the trailer said December 15th. I hope I'm not wrong, but it's definitely December. I think it said December 15th, or just mid-December. I'm extremely excited. It resumes the original story over 20 years later. There are some new voices in this. I'm not certain who. Yeah, Mel Gibson will not be voicing Rocky in this one. Rocky is one of the main chicken characters. Someone else will be stepping in, Zachary Levi, which I think is Shazam in the DC universe, so that's a pretty big deal. Still interested. One voice actor, Miranda Richardson, who has recently been in Good Omens, I think on Amazon Prime Video, will be returning, which is pretty good. She's back as archvillain, Mrs. Tweedy. Again, very excited. I didn't even know she was making a return until I saw the trailer, so I was actually caught a little bit off guard. I thought it'd be a completely new story, but no, it really is a genuine sequel, and I'm actually pretty excited for it. I hope they don't mess it up. It looks really good. Can't wait to see if they either do it really right or do it really wrong. Speaking of really wrong, but as always, it seems like I have to talk about this every week because there is some sort of update. Maybe not, but it's still a genuine, huge deal. The writer's strike continues, hitting its 4-month mark Saturday, passing Labor Day. It's one of the longest Hollywood-related strikes, I think, in history. Again, remember, a dual strike like this, where the actors and writers are both on strike, has not happened, I think, since 1960. So, pretty insane. It's insane, genuinely, that this is still going on. I feel a little disgusted that a deal has not been made. No disgust towards the writers or actors. Like, genuinely, AI is a big problem. That has to be regulated in some capacity for these writers and actors, because deep fakes, AI generated writing and content, it's genuinely scary. And even though it was a massive increase in quality when ChatGPT was introduced in late last year, it's continuing to get much better. And it's always possible that an AI bot could be ingested dozens of scripts that someone wrote and possibly be able to recreate how they write scripts, or maybe how they perform, different tones, pitch. It's scary. It really is. And this strike, obviously it's unfortunate that happened. Movies are getting delayed. Things are not getting worked on. Reality TV shows are about to explode. Watch your local channel, TV channel. A lot of reality shows are coming back. Kitchen Nightmares is coming back. I don't know if that's related, but I am excited for that. It really starts later this month on Fox. But a lot of reality TV shows are really coming into full form because they're not really unionized to at least the degree that writers and actors are in Hollywood studios. So that's a big deal. I don't know when this will be resolved. This article that was released on the 2nd says that the Writers Guild of America and the Alliance of Motion Picture and Television Producers have not talked in 2 weeks, both maintaining that the ball is in the other's court. That's not good. That's really not good. But hopefully it is resolved. A little side note, Jimmy Kimmel, ABC talk show host, says he was intent on retiring prior to the Hollywood strikes. Currently, ABC had him sign a 3-year contract extension last year to stay on as host and executive producer for Jimmy Kimmel Live. So he is required to continue being where he is until 2025, but there is the chance that he probably was not going to stay a whole lot longer. But then he said, now I realize, oh yeah, it's kind of nice to work. Probably from the few months that they've been idle, in a way. Kind of idle in terms of their late night talk show hosts. Yeah, idle, because they haven't been able to record since, I think, early May or the beginning of May, like May 1st. And it is now September. So remember, when you see Saturday Night Live and those late night talk shows, they're all reruns, recaps, not from recently. I remember tuning in sometime last month, just randomly on NBC, and it was an episode that was talking about a film that released last year, that it was just now releasing in theaters or Netflix, one of those two. So it's pretty clear that they're really going in their backlogs to wherever they can. That's not going to be too out of date, but I don't know. It's not looking good. Hopefully, again, the strikes end in a way that benefits the writers and actors with what they want to achieve. From what I've heard, the negotiations were very one-sided in terms of the alliance of producers, the studios giving very little incentive toward what the writers and actors wants, like no assurances on AI protection and whatnot, and minor pay increase. That was like the main thing. It's, to me, not right. It's not okay. And I would hope that one day I don't have to be talking about the strike, but it seems like there's always something new, and it's just unfortunate overall. So that was the entertainment section. We're just going to hop right into tech. A whole lot of tech has happened. Something that happened this afternoon. is something involving Android. I know I've been talking about iPhone a lot here and there, and that will continue because Apple has their iPhone 15 event, I think, later this month. Alleged iPhone 15. Say it's for sure iPhone 15. I don't even know what they're going to show. It could be anything. It could be nothing. You never know. But it probably won't be. It'll probably be the iPhone. So there's that. But in the meantime, Google's got a little something up their sleeve. Their latest Android feature update came with a new logo. A new Android logo that I don't think has been swapped out in years. Now, if you don't know what the Android logo is, understandable. It's a specific font type, but it was all lowercase. From the A to the D and everything in between. And I mean the second D, not the first D. Calm down. It's all lowercase. Now, it looks like the font did change up a little bit, and the A is uppercase. This seems like it's not really relevant, but when major operating systems or companies change anything involving their logo or anything, it actually is a larger deal than you think. When Google's main company restructured to be called Alphabet, that was a massive deal. We all assumed Google is the company, everything else is a subdivision, but that's actually not the case. Alphabet has Google and other services. It's just Google is the most recognized name. They did this restructure several years ago. It's also, I think, the last time they changed the Google logo to what it is now. I remember it was one of the first things that I actually was interested in terms of such a big logo change. This was like, I think, the mid-2010s. I was very into Android by that point, and just seeing that Google was now Alphabet, it was a bit jarring. Of course, I got used to it. But things like that can actually be pretty big, especially when they're before other major events. The company's hardware launch event invitations went out last week, and the Pixel 8 looks set to debut on October 4th. The Google Pixel 8, which is Google's direct iPhone competitor. It's their smartphone that has not really stock Android, Google's OS or Alphabet's OS. I don't know. And from what I've been seeing, it looks like it's going to be quite a lot of changes, mostly subtle, but some pretty big ones. And the Pixel 8 just looks like it's going to continue improving off of Google's Pixel line. If you don't know, Google's Pixel phones are actually pretty good phones. Now, I own a Samsung Galaxy S phone myself, but I think a Pixel would probably be my second pick, if not for the fact I'm so into the Samsung ecosystem and I'm so darn used to the Samsung ecosystem. Now, a little bit of weird to mix in everything, a little weird every now and then. LG decided, you know what, let's just do something that's actually ridiculous and something that I don't think many people are interested in, and let's just put a TV inside of a suitcase. It's as sturdy as it is bizarre. LG's Stand By Me Go is a $1,000 27-inch suitcase TV that was announced for the U.S. earlier this month and was on show at a booth in a Berlin tech conference, the IFA 2023. The TV can be swiveled from portrait to landscape and set any angle from straight upwards, straight forwards. I don't know how to really explain this. It really just looks like you open up a suitcase, there's a screen inside, and you can, I guess, just pop it right out. There's a stand mechanism that this tech writer says feels nice and sturdy. There's a single HDMI port and USB input, as well as a power socket. Of course, it has a built-in battery. That's pretty good. A small cubby built into the suitcase, so you can store the TV's remote, and the whole device weighs 30 pounds. Now, the display is a pretty run-of-the-mill 1080p LCD panel. LG is known for their outstanding OLED TVs. I have one myself. It is phenomenal. It's better, I think, you see it like Best Buy's Magnolia showcases in their stores. Like, those are just artificial, meant to look as punchy and contrasty as possible. When you actually buy one of these and you fine-tune them, they look insane. OLED really is crazy. And I mean, you probably know what OLED is. Many smartphones have the OLED technology, even some laptops. Interesting. I have one, but that's besides the point. This is 1080p, and for $1,000 price, 27-inch, you've got to be in a very niche market to want a monitor in a suitcase. It's currently available for pre-order and is estimated to ship October 15th. Very strange. I'm definitely not in the market, I'll say that, but it was bizarre enough that I had to talk about it. What I also have to talk about is a little bit of Microsoft. They've been doing some interesting things. They've been getting into some controversy one way or another, and it's time for some more controversy. They're removing WordPad from Windows. It was first shipped as part of Windows 95, but in a future release of Windows, it will be removed. Microsoft says they're no longer updating WordPad, and they're planning to remove the word processor for future release. As I've said, a support note published by Microsoft Friday says that they now recommend Microsoft Word for rich text documents like .doc and .rtf, and Notepad for plain text documents like .txt. That's not good. Microsoft Word is paid. You got to pay for it. Unless you have education account, work account that gives you Microsoft Word or Microsoft Office as a whole. WordPad came with, or at least was free with Windows. It came with, as it said, Windows 95, and continued to get updates and improvements as sort of this free alternative, really, to Microsoft Word that likely came at times pre-installed into Windows. You may have it yourself. You probably do if you have Windows. If not, I think it's like some sort of feature you might have to install. Of course, there are also free alternatives like LibreOffice, where you can just process Word documents there. They're, I think, sometimes open source too, so you can trust it more. The news of this removal comes a day after Microsoft revealed it's upgrading Notepad with features like autosave and automatic restoral of tabs. Very strange that it took this long, considering how popular and widely used Notepad is, for better or worse. Microsoft updated the Windows Notepad app in 2018 for the first time in years, adding tabs to its Windows 11 version. Now, for context, WordPad has not been updated significantly since Windows 8. It had some change-ups in Windows 8. Its interface from this screenshot looks like it really harkens back to the days of Windows 7, an OS from 2009. Microsoft says that they will remove WordPad, I almost said WordPress, entirely in a future release of Windows, which will most likely be Windows 12, that this site says they're expecting to see in 2024. Now, a little bit back to Apple, back and forth. Apple, this is actually very recent, they signed a new agreement with ARM that goes past the year 2040. Now, ARM processors, system-on chips, are what run Apple's tech in their tablets, iPhones, computers. It's everything, especially their latest M1, M2 processors that Apple makes themselves rather than using Intel's. So it's like across the board. So Apple struck the deal, but the statement about the deal does not have a whole lot of information. I don't even think it says when this new agreement, this new long-term agreement, ends. As of now, it just says it goes beyond 2040. Apple relies on ARM's designs very heavily for their custom chips, iPhone, Mac, iPad, Apple Watch, and the upcoming Apple Vision Pro headset. I don't know if it's a VR headset officially, or an XR headset, or a mixed reality headset. It's all of the above. Let's just go with that. I just wanted to mention that because that's quite a bit of tech. And, just a little taste of, iPhone stuff, and so that when I do talk about the Apple event happening later this month, it won't be unbelievably unexpected. Moving away from massive multi-billion-dollar corporations, sometimes trillion, and onto Spotify, where you might be listening to this podcast. Spotify is testing something that is anti-consumer. What are the odds? They are making lyrics a premium... Testing, making lyrics a premium-only feature. Spotify is on the lookout for anything it can find that might make users pay up, and not even song lyrics are safe. One person put up on a subreddit for Spotify, not r/Spotify, but it says, blood, B-L-U-D. That's a meme reference. Now they even added lyrics to premium, and the screenshot is that when you scroll down the song, normally on Spotify in general, you can see lyrics sometimes in real time. Well, this person on their, I assume, free account, it says under lyrics, enjoy lyrics on Spotify Premium, and then a button to explore Premium to show you what else you're missing out. Probably. That's not good. Lyrics can be easily found on Google searches and Bing searches, DuckDuckGo searches, Ask Jeeves searches, if that's still a thing. And understandably, Spotify is trying to incentivize, in a way, premium, even as prices continue to rise. More on that later. So far, this article says the most successful premium only feature so far is DJ, probably the AI tool that lets you build a personalized radio station. Now, my parents have SiriusXM, so as a result, I don't really use it, but I think I used it early on, and I was a bit surprised as it was entirely an AI-generated voice. Of course, because it's AI, it's going to continue improving in how it sounds, how natural it is, and hopefully they give more options for voices if they haven't already. Another thing that Spotify is missing out on is hi-fi. Other providers of audio streaming like Amazon, Tidal, Apple Music, they all provide hi-fi, whether as an extra cost or as something included. Spotify said over 2 years ago, yeah, we're going to add the lossless streaming option hi-fi. Just you wait. Just you wait. And we've been waiting over 2 years, and they have decided to stop giving responses for it, which is fantastic. So that's great. As a avid user of Spotify, I luckily do have Spotify Premium, the family one. So that's cool. So I won't be affected by this as of now, but it does suck that people that might have relied on the real-time lyrics, if they were real-time for all songs, at least most of them had lyrics. Now it's going to suck if they go forward with this. I think they're only testing it. Spotify says the feature is only a test. Some of the tests end up paving the way for a broader user experience, and others serve only as an important learning, says CJ Stanley, Spotify's co-head of global communications. We don't have any further news to share at this time. So whether this goes forward or not is unknown. YouTube has recently been testing some changes, I know, about restricting 4K video access to YouTube Premium users. They eventually, I think, backed away from that. They said it was just a test. It was just a test. But luckily, it looks like it's just a test. What's not a test is the 1080p premium option that is a higher bit rate, therefore better quality 1080p video. That, I think, is restricted to YouTube Premium users. That was being tested, and that just put ahead and is in effect as far as I know right now. On the topic of Google, hopefully you're not listening to us on speaker, Alexa and Google Assistant are together on JBL's latest speakers. These new JBL speakers, smart speakers, will be the first to offer simultaneous voice assistance. I'm not sure if they've maybe had Google Assistant Cortana or Siri, maybe compatibility, but directly native access and integration is pretty new. These were announced at the, as I mentioned, IFA Tech Show in Berlin last week. They're retro style looking, but they host Google Assistant and Amazon's voice assistants in one place, something Sonos was never able to achieve. So while the assistants aren't linked to each other, they are aware of each other thanks to a multi-agent experience toolkit that enables features like controlling each other's timers and music, and also knowing when to let the other one talk. Very interesting. Very interesting. The price is a little less interesting. Let's see what the prices were. Looks like they start. One of them is $330. The others I'm seeing are more expensive. So if you want this sort of software capability, it's $329. Goes up to $700, but they're much audio quality. They're smart speakers. I think they're ones to plug in, like to replace like your Google Nest Audio or your HomePod Mini. I mean, for these prices, you probably might not be replacing a HomePod Mini, maybe a Nest Audio Max, which have been discontinued, or the original HomePod, or the Echo Studio, or whatever they are. I don't know. I'm fully into the Google ecosystem. I'm not too familiar with what they're doing nowadays, but that's pretty interesting. Figured I'd mention that. Now on to gaming. Hallelujah. Gaming, gaming, gaming. The best part of the day. Nintendo recently had a Nintendo Direct, talking about their upcoming game, Super Mario Bros. Wonder. It looks fantastic. I watched it, not live, but I did get to see the whole thing. It looks fantastic. I think I'm going to end up buying it. Maybe not a pre-order. I'll wait for reviews either way, as everyone should. And one of the big things that came out before that Nintendo Direct was that Charles Martinet has voiced Mario since the mid-90s, Super Mario 64, will not be voicing Mario, nor maybe the other characters in Super Mario Bros. Wonder. Nintendo, however, in a statement, said they're not revealing who the new voice actor is until Wonder comes out. They said they don't plan on revealing the replacement until folks roll the credits on Super Mario Bros. Wonder. Doug Bowser said in a statement, I think people have recognized this when they see Super Mario Bros. Wonder, they'll hear a different voice, and we'll let that play out, and that'll be within the credits. People will learn who the new person is at this point in time, but we don't plan to make any announcement in advance. So if you want to find out who's voicing Super Mario for the foreseeable future, and I'll be honest, it sounds pretty good. I mean, I didn't really notice a huge difference, which maybe just goes to show it's a pretty good one. Doesn't stick out as something that's weaker in voice quality compared to the legendary Charles, the one and only. And again, he will still be around somewhat. He'll be a Mario ambassador, so he'll continue traveling, I guess, part of Nintendo to show, hey guys, I was the voice of Mario for a very long time, and he'll still be representing Nintendo in some capacity. He's not fully retiring, but voice-wise, he is. So the game is set to release October 20th. We'll probably find out beforehand as reviewers try to grind through the game. I say grind, it's probably going to be fantastic as they joyously, entertainingly play through the game and probably have a lot of fun, I'm hoping. And they'll get to see the credits, and we'll probably know a few days before October 20th, probably mid-October. We'll find out. Unless the game gets leaked, which would be pretty cool. I wouldn't play it. I wouldn't recommend it. I definitely don't support privacy. Piracy. Wow, Freudian slip. I definitely support privacy. Piracy, I do not support, legally and in every other way. So now, sticking with games, but going back to Microsoft in a way, Starfield has released in early access. Maybe by the time you listen to this, it'll have released to everyone. It's set to, I think, September 6th. Steam, it said the 5th, which was interesting, as it's right now the 5th. But by the time you listen to this, it's probably going to be out everywhere, no matter what. You can pay the $70, you can pay the $100, you can pay the $300, cheapest for the Constellation Edition. But either way, one thing that I mentioned in a earlier episode is it does not have NVIDIA's DLSS upscaling technology. It has AMD's FSR technology, which is known to be not as impressive or capable as NVIDIA's, assuming you have an NVIDIA GPU. If you don't, it doesn't matter. But having options is always nice. Well, a modder has added support for DLSS 3 in Starfield, but it's locked behind a paywall. Now, there is a free version of the mod that has DLSS 2, and if you have an older NVIDIA GPU, specifically the RTX 20 series and the 30 series, you don't have DLSS 3 in the first place because that introduces frame generation features which can allow for frame rates doubling with minimal impact. Pretty interesting stuff, but you need to have an already high frame rate to begin with. Now, NVIDIA, their DLSS 3.0 technology is impressive, but you need their newest 40 series GPUs, which are very expensive as there aren't cheaper options yet. This modder's DLSS 2 mod is free. The 3.0 mod is apparently locked behind DRM, which is very strange for a mod that costs money to be locked behind DRM. It's a little spooky territory. I wouldn't recommend it as a result. As the DLSS 2.0 mod is free and reportedly it works well, matching or even slightly beating the performance of the game's official FSR 2.0 or 2 support with slightly better image quality to boot. As of now, the Starfield Upscaler DLSS mod is the most popular release on Nexus mods for Bethesda's Starfield. Now, I heard Starfield is fantastic. I've heard from a lot of people, if you love Bethesda's games, which includes the newer Fallout games, which includes Skyrim, you're probably going to like it. And from what I've heard, it's also not as buggy as Bethesda games used to be at launch, where the savior of mods would come in to improve stability for the games. And Starfield hasn't needed that as much yet. There's some other problems with it, like its menus being a little convoluted and it being like there's so much content, where to even begin. But that's the beauty of Bethesda games. I have yet to buy it. Maybe I'll buy it when it's a little cheaper, or maybe I'll just get Game Pass because it's part of it. I don't have the newest Xbox for Starfield. It's not playable on Xbox One, at least not natively, but I have a pretty decent PC that could more than handle Starfield at good quality settings. So I'll probably check it out sometime in the future, whether it's on Game Pass or I just buy it outright, physically preferably, is unknown. And one small thing that I absolutely had to mention as I'm talking about Starfield, because I don't think there's another time for me to talk about it. A little bit of an opinion, I guess a hot take, I have no idea. But recently, with Starfield's release, one of the first things that you do in Starfield and recent Bethesda games is you customize your character. It's one of the beauties of games such as Skyrim and Fallout 4, which were released in the past decade. And they are very extensive in character customization. It's become pretty common nowadays. Cyberpunk 2077, another well-known AAA open-world game, also has very extensive character customization, sometimes going a little too far. If you're live streaming the game, you probably want to do it off screen. I'll just say that. Some points at least. But there's one part of Starfield that is very, very non-reactive. I mean, it should be non-reactive. It's really, really reactive. It's getting a lot of attention. I have no idea why. I mean, that's not true. I know why. It's ridiculous. And I'll just say it. It's because apparently you can pick your pronouns in Starfield when you're creating your character. By default, I think if you pick a man or a woman, you get he, him, or she, her pronouns. But I think you can change that. Maybe even do they, them. It's such a non-issue. And there's been a lot of backlash. Some backlash, at least, to it. People refunding Starfield, just getting into the game. I feel like I'm going to get into a rant if I talk about it a whole lot more. So I'm just going to keep it at, I don't know why it's an issue. I don't know why this existing means people say, oh, it's political. I don't know why that's political. It's pronouns. We all have pronouns. Maybe. Some might say they go by any all pronouns. Or maybe they just prefer to refer by their first name. If it's not known, I go by he, him, his. If you go by anything else, that's fine. I just don't see why there's an issue. Genuinely. We all use pronouns unless we don't. And that's that. Whether we want to change them or not shouldn't be something up for contention, in my opinion. Maybe this is controversial. Maybe it's not. I have no idea. I've never had a problem with this. I know people that had to change, that ended up changing their pronouns, and I just went with it, and I followed through. And it's fine, you know. I don't plan to change mine, but I just don't see the problem in people changing theirs. That's my, I guess, certified weekly hot take. Moving on, sticking with Microsoft, some good news for Microsoft as they release, consoles continue to release updates for their companies continue to release updates for their consoles. Sony with the PlayStation 5, they have a beta program going that's introducing some new tech. And I'm actually on the beta program for my PS5, and it's pretty good every now and then. Sometimes it will randomly say, oh, you don't have an internet connection, and there's no way to make one. In which my response will be, well, that's not good. That's really not good. And then it gets resolved one way or another. Microsoft continues to release updates of their own, game streaming to Discord friends, variable refresh rate improvements. Now you can, apparently new features, you can pair controllers and accessories without having to leave your couch to hit the pairing button on the console. That's pretty A-okay in my book. Updates should be rolling out soon for this month. So if you have an Xbox Series X or Series S, maybe if you have an Xbox One as well, you might get some of these improvements. And that's pretty cool. So what about Sony? I mentioned they have the PS5 beta, but come on, there's got to be something to talk about with Sony. Well, there is a little bit. I can't just go from good to bad. So I will say they are introducing a batteryless full frame camera for drones. It has no screen. It's 61 megapixels and it costs almost $3,000. Now, I know it's not entirely good news if you're in this market. Wow, that's a lot of money. Full frame though is, going to be outstanding quality, and for drones, that might be a market that hasn't really been touched on, but considering this starts at almost $3,000, set to release in December, that is insane. All right, a little bit of good news, even though you might not find it good news, but um, some bad news. If you have PlayStation Plus, whether or your PS4, your PS5, or well, I don't know what else you would. Um, well, a price jump is set to go into effect. Now, it's Tuesday night as I'm recording this, but it's going to be going into effect Wednesday, so odds are it's gone into effect by the time you're listening to this. And yeah, it's bringing up some very pricey additions. For example, it's Essential tier, that's $60, where you need this one at least to go online on any paid game on PS4 or 5. It's going to go from $60 to 80. And their most expensive tier, the premium one, which allows for cloud streaming, retro gaming, it's going to go from $120 to $160. These go into effect September 6th now. Now, PS Plus subscribers, current 12-month ones, which includes me, will see the prices reflected on their next subscription renewal if it takes place on or after November 6th. But if you change your membership, so for example, I have the Essential one, I'll need extra or premium. But if I were to decide to change it to premium, I would have the new prices key. Now, I'm glad I don't have to immediately buy $60 crazy amount of subscriptions. I anticipate using my PS5 for the foreseeable future, and I think mine expires November. I think it's set to auto renew, but I think it's after November 6th, so I'm gonna have to renew early. But I do have a little bit of extra time. If you're not on a 12-month subscription, I guess you're screwed. Sorry, I don't make the rules. Now, it's funny that this comes on the heels, around the time this happened, Stars, just a little bit of good news. Stars is actually lowering the price of their annual subscription, unlike everyone else. It kicked in the day after a day before it was announced that their annual price went from $75 to $70, or rather $69.99. Nice. Existing members will see the change in their price on their next bill. Stars has a lot of quality shows, including Outlander, The Serpent Queen, and Minx. It's an unexpected move, but obviously a welcome one. Just a few months ago, they increased their monthly subscription from $8.99 to $9.99. So now the annual plan seems like even more of a no-brainer. Some services do offer annual subscriptions that make more sense than doing monthly if you anticipate having that service for a whole year. Some suggest, just have the service for as long as you are watching a show legally and cancel whenever. And that's a move. That's a good move if you want to, save money wherever you can. And I respect that. So that's with Stars. Not exactly gaming, but I wanted to link that to the increase in PlayStation Plus. Services everywhere are increasing their prices, whether monthly or annually. So it's good that a rare W in the making. What may or may not be a rare W, or a W at all, is that Call of Duty has always had a sort of problem with toxicity in their voice chats. Of course, it's expected. You go into a Call of Duty chat. I infamously remember a lot of things when I booted up Black Ops Cold War on my PS5, at the time very new, late 2020. And late 2020 was kind of around the election of 2020 against two very well-known, popular candidates. And yeah, I won't say what was said. I think I would be removed from all platforms. But there were a lot of things that were said. So Call of Duty is introducing AI to moderate voice chats. The technology provided by Modulate will scan conversations for spoken violations of the game's code of conduct. So if it was anything that was said in those voice chats that I was part of, those lobbies back in 2020, I think they'd all be permanently banned, and probably invested. So A new moderation system using an AI technology called ToxMod, it's one word, will work to identify behaviors like hate speech, discrimination, and harassment. That sounds very impressive. The initial beta rollout for North America began a few days ago. It's currently active. It's actually active now, it seems. Um, with Within Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2, the current newest Call of Duty game, and Call of Duty Warzone, the free-to-play battle royale shooter. A full worldwide release, not including Asia, the press release notes, will follow November 10th when Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3 remake releases, this year's newest entry in the Call of Duty franchise. The press release didn't really include many details about how ToxMod works. It notes that the tool triages, sorry if I'm saying it wrong, TRIAGES, voice chat to flag bad behavior, analyzing nuances of each conversation to determine toxicity, and enables moderators to quickly respond to each incident by supplying relevant and accurate context. That's what the website for, I think, ToxMod is. Noteworthy that the tool, for now, will not actually take action against players based on its data, but will merely support reports to Activision's moderators. I'm not sure why this topic is messing up my voice. So it won't be AI. AI won't be the judge, jury, and executioner. So no worries about that. Yet. But, it's good. I think Call of Duty, Battlefield, all those, Halo, all the voice chats, at least in the yonder days of the Xbox 360 and PlayStation 3, were very, very toxic, extremely, and people just expected that. And unfortunately, I think people have gotten better and worse, and those people that are getting worse, AI now has to be introduced to moderate voice chats. I don't know if that's a W or an L. I don't know why I'm using the terminology, but I mean, I guess we'll see how it plays out long term. It's already in effect today if you're in North America. But yeah, I hope it leads to better things. I don't know. It's pretty new territory. One thing I wanted to say is randomly is crypto casino stake has been hacked for over $40 million. Now, if you're wondering what stake is, as I said, it's a crypto casino. You're able to go onto this website, input some money, turn it into a cryptocurrency like Ethereum, and gamble. With its legality and everything in between is very questionable. It's had crazy endorsements. Maybe you've heard of it. They've recently associated with the release of a platform called Kick, a new live streaming platform. They were just recently hacked for over $40 million, $15.7 million of which from Ethereum and $25.6 million from others called BSC and Polygon. Why am I talking about this? All I gotta say is, and this happened, I guess yesterday or just at least recently. All I gotta say is, LOL. Something completely different. Mini Coopers, the car. You know it. Maybe you love it. Maybe you hate it. A little while back, earlier this year, they introduced this sort of redesign that their Mini Coopers will have, at least their electric ones, that they'll have this crazy looking OLED display in the center. Mini Coopers are known to have this circular dashboard in the center of their front, inside, of course, and it usually has a lot of the important information. Well, they're rehauling that to make it a huge OLED screen. It is circular, very, very circular, and it looks crazy. It looks like it's also powered by what's called the Android-based Mini Operating System 9. So it's with BMW. I don't know if BMW's OS, I think theirs ends in 9 as well, or at least 8, soon to be 9. I don't know if theirs is Android-based. There's voice control. Be activated by saying, "Hey Mini." And I just found it pretty funny. It looks pretty cool. My mom has a Mini Cooper. It's pretty cool. I can see why people like it. It's got its market, its audience, right where it wants it. Vibe setting RGB lighting is also a thing, part of mini experience modes where it changes the car's handling and responsiveness. So I think sport mode, comfort mode, eco mode. Mini says the interior lights, instrument cluster, and OLED screen will all take on colors to match the vibe of the Very interesting. Now, I think this is the 2025 Mini Cooper EV. Now, it seems like this is new info, but I'm very certain I remember seeing the huge OLED screen being something a few months back, but now there's a little more info on it, and it's the 2025 EV, so don't expect it this fall, expect it fall next year. So, a lot was talked about, and I know I had my hot take. I apologize if you were offended or triggered. I just figured I'd put some originality into this besides just saying what I think about the topics in today's world. Obviously, pronouns in Starfield is not really a news topic, but I had to mention it. I hope you understand. If not, whatever. Futurology. As always, every week I try to talk about something that is possibly going to change how we live in the future, whether long-term or short-term, something that may be a good thing, maybe a bad thing, maybe a bit of both. And this, I think, could be a good thing. A Japanese startup is 3D printing small homes with the same price as a car. A lot of things are being 3D printed nowadays. 3D printers are much more well known and are getting cheaper. I think you can get them for as little as a few $100s for a pretty all right one. Won't be too big, but they're pretty cool. I think one of my teachers in high school may have had one. That might have been the first time I ever got up close with one. I don't think I saw it work, but still pretty cool. Japanese construction startup Serendex created a popular tiny proof of concept last year, and it was up to code for Japanese earthquakes and European insulation standards. They recently unveiled, I'm sorry if I say this wrong, Fujitsubo, which is a small home, as I can see here, priced at 5.5 million yen. Wow, sounds like a lot. It's actually $37,600. Big difference between yen and the US dollar. It occupies only 538 square feet, pretty small compared to the average new American home, which this site says 5 times larger. Wow. I didn't know that. Something I did not realize. Glad to know. Will it impact my day-to-day life? Probably not, considering it's very unlikely I'm going to be able to afford getting a home anytime soon. So this home is ideal for a couple or one person. It has 1 bedroom, 1 bathroom, and an open living room connected to a kitchen. Sounds like a studio. Kind of. Company is currently using 5 printers to build their homes, 50 per year, but by next year they plan to add 12 more printers and build almost 850 homes every. Now, will this catch on? If it does, it will not be anytime soon. But pretty cool. If you wanted to see more information on it, yankodesign.com made the article on September 3rd. They gave more information about it. Pretty interesting stuff. Will it affect our day-to-day lives? I think it could. No idea. But that's something we'll have to wait and see. Very long time for now. 3D printing homes sounds insane. But we're 3D printing a lot of stuff. So you never know. So that'll be it for me. Just a little reminder, as it's now about a month away, there will be a nationwide alert reaching cell phones, TVs, and radios, I think in the U.S., October 4th. So be prepared for that. The test alert is going to be sent out around 2:20 p.m. Eastern Time. I'm only saying this now because it's a month advance, and it seems like this got a lot of attention a few days ago. Just to let people know, hey, October 4th, don't freak out if a test alert happens at 2:20 p.m. Eastern Time. So every television, radio, and cell phone in the U.S. is going to broadcast that message that it's a test. Just letting everyone know, just to be prepared. You never know. Better safe than sorry, am I right? Maybe I'm not. I hope I'm right. But either way, that'll be it for me. Thank you all for watching. In your head, the visual recreation of whatever I've been speaking, hopefully. Thank you for listening. And yeah, I haven't really watched a whole lot of new content. I do plan to see the new live-action One Piece show that released on Netflix. I heard it's actually pretty good. I've never seen more than a few episodes of One Piece. Unfortunately, it's just over 1,000 episodes. It's just tough to start, but you never know. Maybe I'll get around to it later in my life. Maybe when the show's over, which will it end? That is the question. I heard it's pretty good, and I do plan to watch it. But yeah, and also I think I've mentioned the Barbie movie in previous episodes, so a little update on that. It's set to release on digital I think where I saw it was next week. So if you're interested in seeing that, but not in a theater, well, good news. I think later this month it's going to be released in IMAX for 1 week, and you'll be able to purchase it digitally next week. So there you go. Now, if you want to see Barbie, you don't have to risk getting COVID-19. So that'll be it for me. Thank you all for listening, and I will catch you all in the next episode that I plan to release every Tuesday night. You might listen to them Wednesday, but either way, thank you again one last time, and I'll catch you all later. Until then, take care of yourselves and have a good one. Peace.